Just got a little quick Macbeth morsel for you today. I'm currently editing Macbeth for John Kay Press, the classics reprint line I am the editor of. Our first title was Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which I'm sure you might have seen me throwing around on this channel before, brandishing at you. It's got a brand new introduction by me. It's got this beautiful cover art by my sister. That's a lino cut. It's also got this colophon, this kind of publisher's colophon or image that I haven't shown off as much, but it's a really nice image. It's got that's John Kay, the caricaturist there, and his cat above his shoulder. The cat he claimed was the biggest in Edinburgh. Anyway, that's not an advert for Jekyll and Hyde, but Macbeth is going to be the second book in the series, and it's a bigger job editing-wise. I sort of miscalculated, really. I thought it would be quite a walk in the park. I knew that Macbeth was among the shortest of the plays in the canon. I was quite wrong. It is an enormous job because every time that you edit Macbeth, you almost have to build the play from scratch, which means while it's a bigger job, harder job, it's also a hugely enjoyable job. I'm having a great time doing it. If you're the kind of person who enjoys reading Shakespeare and playing your dream version in your head, I highly recommend editing Shakespeare, because you basically get to do that, but on an absolutely granular level. Every decision that you make, every tiny decision, turns out to be a creative decision. And that goes for deciding whether or not to use exclamation marks or whether or not to use brackets. You have to constantly ask yourself, how much do I want to step on the toes of a potential production? How much do I want to indicate to an actor that this is how you perform it, or to a director, this is how you stage it? In my case, I as little as possible. When it comes to stage directions, I am sticking pretty true to the first folio, in which the stage directions are minimal. Anyway, it's a really rewarding experience, and just to give you a taste of the kind of decisions that you have to make, I was going to just zoom in on one particularly entertaining and minute decision. It comes in the second scene of Act 3, Macbeth's line about a shard-borne beetle, the shard-borne beetle whose drowsy hums have wrung a night's yawning peal. Now, the decision boils down to how you spell shard-borne, whether it is a B-O-R-N or B-O-R-N-E, so born or born, birthed or lifted. Now, if you have a paperback edition of Macbeth at home, either a Penguin or an Arden or something like that, if you look at the footnote for this line, in all likelihood, there'll be two possible glosses. The first one will be born upon shards. So the beetle is born upon wings of glass. Its wing cases or wings are like shards of pottery. That would be B-O-R-N-E. And then the second gloss will be excrement. Born from dung, basically. It's a dung beetle, so it'll be B-O-R-N, born in filth. Now, the history of which definition to go with for this tiny little moment stretches back through almost all of Shakespeare's major editors. There's been quibbles about it. There's disagreements about where certain definitions came from, so where the pottery reading came from. Whole essays have been written. There's one I've just read by Timothy Billings on this little hyphenated word. And Timothy Billings comes down heavily in favour of excrement, of it actually meaning born from dung. Shards, I think, has a connection to cowpat, and that's where that meaning comes from. And he makes the case that one of Shakespeare's editors, Stevens, without making an attribution to a former editor, took the line that basically shard-borne, as in pottery shards, is nicer. It would be nice if it meant that, and so that's what he put in his very influential annotations. So influential that when you look up shard-borne in the OED, it points back to Shakespeare's play, and Billings describes this as the OED loop, where if you are in the business of editing a Shakespeare play and you want to go and find out what does this mean because I need to make a decision about it, you'll get referred back to your own text. Just one other reason why editing Shakespeare becomes very creative and intuitive. In some instances, you have nowhere else to go other than Shakespeare, and you're really left to your own instincts. Personally, I love the fact that whatever the correct definition seems to be, and Billings makes a very strong case that it is a dung beetle. It does mean born from filth and not born upon shard-like wings. Nevertheless, I think it is wonderfully apt that there is such a clash of images, being born on glass and being born from filth, at a moment in the play where Macbeth is about to look upon an objective reality which bodes extremely well for him, a banquet full of admiring lords, and have that moment ruined by seeing a creature of filth, a bloody apparition of his friend Banquo, who he has just had killed, along with all the other daggers of the mind and problems of seeing that the play is obsessed with, the kind of reality tunnels, as to use a more modern phrase. I think the clash of those two definitions of just this little beetle is kind of wonderful.